The U.S. House has cleared a key hurdle to reopening the government later today. This morning, the lawmakers held the procedural vote to see if they had enough support for passage, and it barely made it with a 217 to 215 vote. The final vote is expected this afternoon, and if it goes through, President Trump has said he'll sign it immediately. This funding package will ensure enough money to fund the government through the end of September, but they are still working on a separate package to fund Homeland Security. Democrats in the state legislature, who hold a large majority, are working to pass a slate of bills related to federal immigration policies. But constitutional law experts say some may be more symbolic than effective. Democrats announced a package of bills. One would allow state lawsuits against federal officers. Another would ban federal officers from wearing masks. Jasmine Chavez, an attorney and professor at MSU Denver, says enforcing legislation, especially the mask ban, might be difficult.
And for the most part, what we've seen historically is that the supremacy clause as well as the immunity clause is going to win at the end of the day, right? If it's about a federal enforcement strategy.
Denver City Council has proposed anti-masking legislation on the local level, but the Department of Homeland Security has already said if it does pass, they will not follow it. Colorado senators have given the okay to a bill that would expand the state's red flag laws. Democrats want to add to the list of people and institutions that can petition a court to temporarily confiscate someone's guns. The bill calls to allow healthcare facilities, behavioral health centers, schools, and colleges to petition the court for an extreme risk protection order when someone may be a danger to themselves or others. The state's original red flag law only allowed law enforcement officers or family members to request those protective orders. A 15-year-old has been sentenced to 7 years confinement for the deadly fire in 2022 at the Tiffany Square Apartments in Lakewood. 10 people were injured and 2 died in the fire. 31-year-old Kathleen Payton and her daughter, 10-year-old Jasmine Payton Aguayo. It happened on October 31st, almost 4 years ago. 2 juveniles, ages 14 and 12 at the time, were asked to leave a friend's apartment in the complex. They later came back just before 4 a.m. and set fire to bushes outside of the apartment. It spread and engulfed the entire building. Last week, the now 15-year-old pled guilty and was sentenced to the maximum sentence of 7 years in the Colorado Department of Human Services Division of Youth Services. He was given credit for 2 years of confinement already served. The second juvenile pled guilty and was given the same sentence back in November of 2023. A Colorado Springs police officer is recovering this afternoon after getting shot yesterday. Authorities say the officer was working on an operation to arrest a fugitive. Investigators say the officers tried to speak with a man they thought was suspicious, but the man ran away, pulled out a gun, and shot at the officer. 2 officers did shoot back, hitting the man. He's now in critical condition. North Glen police are warning people to be careful about how they're interacting with birds after responding to nearly a dozen suspected cases of bird flu. So far, cases have come from geese and a great horned owl. Officials say while the risk to people is pretty low, be sure to keep yourself and your pets away from sick or dead birds. Birds with the flu may appear lethargic, unable to fly, walking in circles, or unusually afraid of people. If you see multiple dead birds or some acting strangely, they ask you to report it to the North Glen Parks Division. A vote tonight will determine changes to Loveland's camping ban. The Loveland City Council's action comes after the city dropped its plan to create a new long-term shelter. The policy would remove a requirement that the city have available shelter in order to ticket people who remove camps. The city's only overnight shelter for adults is currently a temporary setup at the Loveland Resource Center, but overnight services will end next month. The City Council had talked about buying a building and converting it into a long-term shelter. But last week, the city announced it couldn't find an organization to run it, so leaders called off the plan.